Okay, so now what's going to happen is we have an opportunity, really an opportunity to say, wow, man, we are in control. But being in control brings on a few other things, doesn't it, Brandon? I
Oh yeah.
mean, oops, we're at the switch, but guess what? We got to flip the damn thing. Okay, so I love being in control, but I also love all of the opportunities that happen. Now, let me just say one other thing. This is another great thing for everybody who understands how to market their home inspection business because your competitors are going to go out of business. Okay. And the schools are not bringing in nearly the number of people today that they were in the past. When the market was just, when John Watkins said, my dog could sell a house in 2 hours, the home inspection school was just flooding your market. What ain't happening now? Interest rates and economic uncertainty has slowed that down. But you know what? Our clients are still rocking and rolling. And in 2007 and 2008, everybody was gloom and doom. We weren't. We're saying, hey, let's don't get, they're going out of business. Great. Let's pick up the market share they had because home inspection sales are still occurring. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon, they're happening in your area. They're happening in every area, right? I mean,
Yeah. And you don't even get that much smaller than our area. I mean, and they're still selling houses.
yeah. Yeah. So it's really a beautiful time for us, an exciting time. And I said last time that I wanted you to move to from home inspector to property consultant. And I'm going to get into a lot more about that as we move forward. But that is my goal for you to move from home inspector to property consultant so that you can expand your revenue stream even further. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have to help you, and Brandon and our whole team is going to have to help you with getting control of the entire market. Okay, everything around you now, when you don't get these buyer's agents leads, guess what? We won't have to replace those. And I'm excited about helping you make that happen. So anybody got any questions? Because we're going to open this, just open mic. I mean, we're just chit chatting here. Brandon and I are going to talk about a few things, but we're looking for what you think about it. Because, that's what this is, open mic, not presentation by Ken, although, and Brandon, it could be, but that's boring. I'd rather hear what y'all think. So Keith, what you thinking? I see you sitting there thinking about it. He's noodling through it. I can see him looking at it
Well,
like,
you
oh,
know it.
Ken's gone crazy again.
No, I think the day of the buyer's agent is basically numbered right now. I've been talking to a lot of my agents. And they don't know what to do. They're trying to figure out how they're going to get their 3%, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen for them because these sellers are not going to pay the 6%.
Yeah, I
They're
can
just going
imagine
to
that.
pay.
Can you?
Well, I think I agree with you on the, where the 1% guys. I'm sure you got those around there that list houses or just a flat fee on the buyer's side. $1,500, $2,000, to sell their house to represent the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
here's
what
what's happened in our community, Keith. For $539, we got a full listing, full service seller's
Yep,
listing
we
for
got that here too.
$539.
Yep, 350
However,
here.
when Beth and I sold that house, there was a clause in there that said you had to pay at least 2% to the buyer's agent. That's already
Right,
gone.
right.
Everybody's had to remove that under the new law. So now what happens is they're advertising the same one that Beth and I used. Woohoo! Guess what? No buyer's agents commissions are required. So now you keep more of your money as well. But you'll see that. I think you'll see more of what you're talking about. And the fees, I think, will vary. This guy will list you on the internet on a basic listing for 6 months. They just put you in a computer. It's $97.
Yep, yep. But what about the buyer's side? Where the buyers needs a representation to go purchase the house. Are they going to circumvent and go straight to the listing agent, and the listing agent is going to do double duty for the 3%?
I wrote a couple of articles about it recently, and I'll make sure you guys get links to them. But there's a lady who is a real estate agent and an attorney, and she said that is the kiss of death.
Yeah, it
Dual
is.
dual agency is a kiss of death. That brings on so many lawsuits. But Keith, I think really where we're going to go, one of two things, and all this is shaking out. So please know the only thing I know, the first thing I know, Keith, is old Jed is a millionaire. Other than that, everything is uncertain. All
Right.
right. So the fact of the matter is that I believe in my heart of hearts that there's going to be entrepreneurs like the people that do flat fee listings that are going to start offering a la carte services. You already see Amazon and others involved in it. You see Zillow involved in it, where there's a vacant home. They do a soft credit check on you. You go out and look at the home on your own. They give you a code to the lockbox key. Technology has really moved forward with us. But let's think about the question that you asked a minute ago. What are buyers going to do for representation? We had a buyer's agent, and the only reason we used it because it was free to us. And the guy told us, we were talking to, because we say, hey, we want to see this, this, and this. So he was really a door opener, and he was terrible. He didn't know anything about the house at all. He just opened the damn door. But he worked for a successful team. And you know what he said is 97% of the people tell me what they want to see, and we sell it. We just facilitate it. Okay, so why is it that a buyer, I'm a home buyer, knowing that's how it works, that I'm going on the internet and find any property I want and get you to open the door? Why am I going to pay you 1,500 or 2 or 3,000 to open the door? Okay, so when profits are being made or market disruption happens, new services blossom. So I think you're going to see people doing a la carte. I think you're going to be seeing them do all kinds of a la carte things. I think you're going to see new services pop up that'll do it a la carte. So I think that's what's going to happen eventually. I think what's going to happen now is the brokers are struggling. So here's what they're saying, Keith. Do I need to have buyers agents on my team? And if they feel like they do, guess what? Their commission is now 3% or less. How do they take on that additional payroll and that additional financial responsibility with no extra revenue? Okay, so they're struggling with that. Dual agency is a problem. But what is it really that you see as a big thing? I think attorneys, real estate attorneys will step up. Closing attorneys will step up. Others will step up and fill the void on contract negotiation. Now,
Agreed.
the flat fee realty here in Atlanta is owned by an attorney, and they have a closing attorney that works with them. And for a small fee, they'll negotiate your contract. They did it for Beth and I. Reviewed our contract to make sure we weren't getting stuck in the ear with something bad. So I think it's going to happen that way. So with that said, I'm kind of glowing in the dark here. I'm feeling radiant. But my challenge is, and Home Inspector Help's challenge is to help you guys replace those leads that you're no longer going to get from buyer's agents. And that's what all of these calls are about. We have got to help you move the difference. Because you know what, Keith, if you could save $3,000 to $6,000 on your commissions as a lister or as a buyer, you know how many crawfish bowls that is, bro?
That's a lot.
Had one or two in it. You could throw a hell of a Lollapalooza for $6,000.
Right.
So that's where it is. So Brandon, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, Ken's excited. Hold him down, get a set of lead blocks and hold him down. He's so excited. He's rising right up to the top on this thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm pretty excited about it as well. I mean, you know, we've been pretty, even to today, you know, we still are pretty agent reliant on our referrals, and we're still continuing to work with the agents, and we're going to kind of see how things play out. But you know, I actually follow a couple of real estate coaches. They've got YouTube channels, so I'll listen to kind of their take on it every now and again. And one model that's kind of been thrown around by one of the guys, he's talking about taking a bunch of listings, telling his sellers that he charges only 3% commission, not the 6% traditionally, right? And then having a clause in there that says, I'll take a 1% fee if I do both sides of the transaction, not really representing the buyers, but only working the paperwork.
That's where the lawsuits are coming in right there. That's where the lawsuits are going to come in right there.
That's a dual agent.
Dual
That's right,
agency.
the dual agent. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with Keith that, you know, here we are as home inspectors, we deal with this every day where a home buyer's calling us, asking us for quotes, and we're haggling over $25, $50 between, you know, a competitor versus our price, right? How are they going to be able to fork out $10,000 for
That's a great. That's right. That they can't even afford an inspection or an appraisal or even closing costs at this point. So how are
I
they
am
going to
so
afford?
glad you guys said that.
How are they going to afford the agent? Well, in my market, I have seen a shift in the last 30 days where we're getting more homeowners coming right off the web page and coming off online marketing. And that is working. I met a guy today and I was referred to him by the agent. He said, but oh, I looked at your webpage and I looked at your reviews and, I feel more confident, that you're doing my inspection. He said, find everything you need to find. I said, okay, I'll find everything I need to find, but, I appreciate the referral for sure.
Yeah.
So while agents are out there and you can get business from them, take it. Okay.
Yep.
But on the 17th of August, mark that down, write that down on your calendar. That's a dead day. That's the deadline when the thing gets completely implemented. Okay. So here's what's going to happen, guys. And this is really the exciting point to me because I want you to make more money. I want you to make a lot more money. And when you're Keith and I, we kind of got some gray hair. We on the edge of thinking about 1 foot on a banana peel, 1 foot of slipping out into business.
That's right.
And
48
you
more months, buddy. That's it.
That's it. I'm gonna be 70 here quick too, Keith. So it's like I ain't gonna be hanging around this place. Brandon he better toughen up like Mike Pence. I mean not Pence, but Mike Vance. He's gonna have to toughen up because he's going to have to take over. But the fact of the matter is that I want you guys to make more money, and here's how you're going to do it. You're going to move from home inspector to property consultant. Okay, and what that really means is this: home inspectors are certainly going to be one of the core services that you offer, but what else can we offer? Okay, and what happens is people are going to look to you because you guys are so professional and so knowledgeable about the industry. They're going to be looking to you. Keith, how many people have said to you when you're at an inspection, hey, Ricky, how many people have said to you, Keith, who do you know that can help me with this? Or Keith, what do you think? Or Keith, tell me how to repair this. Or all of the things. You know why? Because they see how knowledgeable and professional you are.
And they trust
Okay?
you.
They do. And so what's going to happen is you're going to be a way bigger part of the transaction. No longer are you going to get the referral from the realtor. You're going to get the referral elsewhere. And guess what? You're the guy in charge now. Okay. And you can say it any way you want to say it.
Right.
Okay. And not have fear of repercussions. And this is going to be a beautiful thing. So I want you to move to a much larger role. Now, tonight, we're not going to talk about all of those services that I want you to start offering because I'm working on training for you for those things. But what I do want you to do is think about these things. Okay. So Beth and I.
Bob Hanger all the way down to the service group.
Okay, somebody I can hear that. Somebody I
I
can
don't
hear
believe
there.
that, Giselle.
Yeah.
Not me.
If you talking, I can hear your phone.
Sorry.
Not me.
Somebody I can hear their phone. Okay. So what happens is we looked at and said, okay, what is it real estate agents do every day? And I had this conversation with Brandon about it to keep that funnel full. Okay, think about the old oil funnel we used to fill the old lawnmower up with. It's big and top, big and round at the top and small at the bottom. Okay, so we got to fill that big top full every day so the bottom leads drip out. So what is it that they do? And we built this giant list of everything they did to generate leads. Do you know why people get out real estate agents? Do you know why real estate agents get out of the business? Only one reason. Well, maybe two, health. But the primary reason they get out of business, guess. Anybody got a guess?
They can't buy shoes.
Well, okay.
They get married to their home inspector referrer.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's it. That's I don't know if that's a win or not for you, babe.
You have.
This business has been very, very good to you. I can see already. I see what you're saying. What their number one reason they get out of business is they can't generate leads. It's not that they're not nice people. It's not that they're not knowledgeable. It's not that they don't look pretty, but the fact of the matter is they cannot generate leads, and that's why they get out. Okay, your competitors that aren't in this program do not know how to generate leads. They're not thinking this way. They're thinking, oh, them real estate agents ain't going anywhere. They don't know anything about Setzer Burnett. They've never heard of it. Okay.
And that is so true because I talked to somebody today who had actually barely heard of it. I
But I know
promise you.
people
they're in
never
the-
heard of it. I've talked to them.
Yeah.
So we're in the driver's seat here. Okay, so the thing about it is you've got to be able to generate leads or you're going out of business. Now your competitors are not going to know how to do this. They're not having this discussion. That you know what they're doing? They're wringing their hands. They got one strategy. It's a 4-letter word and it's not nasty. The 4-letter word is hope. They hope to heck this turns out okay. Okay, hope ain't no business strategy. Everybody has to have hope, but it's not a business strategy. Okay, so we built this big old giant list of everything real estate agents do that are effective, that really drive business and keep that funnel full at the top. Now, the things that you're going to do today and the things you're going to do tomorrow might not pay off for you today or tomorrow. But you know what? You're going to have to be doing a variety of activities to be able to make it happen. And you know, a lot of you guys, not going to say this, but you've gotten pretty lazy from the internet. Okay. But right now, search is down. Okay. You know why? Interest rates are high and there's economic uncertainty. Are sales still happening? Absolutely, in every market. All we need is, let's say that, Keith, that you needed 70 a month for your guy to keep everybody busy in your firm. Okay. So if there's 300 inspections, our job is to get 70, right?
Yeah.
And listen, we're going to kick, punch, and fight to get 70 because we don't care about everybody else. We don't care a thing about everybody else. We only care about achieving our business goals so that our families and your team members' families are whole. All right. And we're going to have to be willing to do the work. But it's not going to be sit back and let Uncle Google fill you full of leads right now. It's not ever going to be that. It's going to be one part of a multi-pronged approach to marketing. And I've always preached that. Never, ever put all your eggs in one basket. Because when you're doing that basket gets tilted over, your eggs are broke. All right. That's a bad strategy, like hope.
And that's
So,
one of the
Brent,
things that
go ahead.
yeah,
I was going to say, Brandon, jump in here.
we track that really closely in our business too. I mean, because we're in a small market, and so there's literally a few hundred transactions that happen, and this year it's looking like it might be nationally at least the slowest year in real estate, I think since the 80s. I want to say maybe 2008. Just because I shouldn't say nobody, but just so many people are just out of the market just because home prices are high, interest rates and uncertainty, right? All those things. And so we have to track that really closely in our market because there's not just an excess number of transactions happening that we can just go out and get leads, right? We have to be really close and gain market share right now because transactions are down.
Yeah, Mike, welcome. I didn't see you at the very bottom of the call, so welcome to the call. I agree, Brandon. I mean, there are lesser transactions today than there were in the past. It's not a market where John's dog can sell a home in 2 hours. That's just not what it is. Okay, so people are going to have to work for sales. So, you know who else has to work for sales? The plumber, the electrician, the building contractor.
It's all
Everybody
a
out
It's a
there.
hustle. It's a hustle.
It's a hustle. Keith, that's a
Gotta
good way to
hustle.
put it. What's your
Gotta
hustle,
hustle,
baby?
man.
Mm-hmm.
Get off your butt and get out there.
So that's what we're going to have to do. So with that said, we looked at all of the things that the real estate agents are doing, and it was a big list. We were probably 50 things. Okay. And what our team is doing is looking now, distilling those down. We're writing the strategy on what they did, how they did it. We're going to share with you how they did it. We're going to share with you what you need to do. We're going to give you all of the material to do it. All those things are the online is already done in the new membership site, but the offline, all the new offline stuff is coming in. As a matter of fact, I worked all day on one course to make that happen for you. So what we wanted to talk to you about tonight. Anybody ever heard of Joe Girard? Anybody just that name strike a bell? And B, if you get a second, I need to get a coffee pot in here. I'm sorry, guys. The wife won't let me have it because I need to get up and walk my fat butt in there, skinny butt rather, to the kitchen. But anybody know Joe Girard?
Yep, I've heard of that.
Oh, I know you know him. Joe Girard is one of my favorite stories. I don't know if you know Joe or not, but Joe is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the guy that has sold the most cars in a salesman's lifetime. In 1 year, Joe Girard sold 1,425 vehicles in 1 year. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? One guy. Okay. This was before the internet. He had no team, one guy. Okay. So you know what he did? You know, one of the big primary things he did? He used handwritten notes. Okay. Now, Brandon, I know some of our members have used handwritten notes, Todd Whiting, others, and they'll rave on how effective they are. But you know why we don't use handwritten notes today? Because we don't have time, but now we might have a little more time. Okay. And if your handwriting is as bad as mine, what you might want to do is get some teenage young person, man or a woman, that's got good handwriting and just sub that out to them. But you write the message and just let them handwrite it.
He's got books on all that stuff.
Yeah, it's great. He's a great guy. He's got a website and the whole thing. So let me go over here and just tell you a little bit about Joe Girard if you don't know him. One of the things he said, these are directly from him, and I'm not going to read you the text, but I'm going to touch on the bullets. He said the factors that made him successful was the personal touch. How about, you know, what the most powerful word in the English language is? The sound of your own name. Okay. So when you put a personal touch on somebody, how many of you look at, because I learned direct mail as a young marketer. How many of you look at send out cards or whatever comes in and it's the handwritten font, thank you, dear. And they're trying to spoof you into thinking it's a real thank you note or something from handwritten, right? Well, then you look on the back and it says send out cards to somebody else and the jig's up. You know it ain't that now. Okay. But when you receive a personal handwritten note from someone, and I will tell you, I received one the other day. I had made a purchase, and somebody in that firm, it was in the marketing department, actually wrote me a handwritten thank you note. I was blown away. I was like, okay, this is a pretty good sized company too. Okay, I'm digging it. All right. So the personal touch, I felt wonderful by receiving that note, because nobody else is doing it. I'm like, wow, damn. Woo, that was personal. You know what else his notes do? Build relationships. Okay. Anybody do business with people they know, like, and trust? I bet everybody, right? I bet how many people do business with people they don't like or trust? I don't ever. No. So it builds relationships. Okay. So you send people, and I'm not talking just thank you notes. We're going to get into it in a minute. We're talking about all kinds of opportunities for you to send handwritten stuff to your customers. Okay. So builds relationships. Look what he says. It's exceptional customer service. No kidding. I mean, today, most people don't even give you a thank you note. Hell, half of them don't say your product is even on the way. Like I have to go into my account on their website and say, where's my stuff? They didn't mind taking my money, but then once they got my money, they're not very good with communicating. Oh, but in my email box, they've got a special this week and they're trying to sell me something else. No, I really wanted to know where was my stuff first. Okay. I don't like that. Okay. So that was crap customer service. I like great customer service. Consistent follow-up. Wow. Remember, all of these years, I've said one of the things that gets home inspectors in trouble with marketing, they're inconsistent. Start a project and quit, start a project and quit. One time, Bill Easter, he told me this. He's one of my clients out in Seattle. We did the interview 0 to 500. In the first year, he had no business. He came to our home inspection school there in Atlanta, run by AHIT. And the guys there were all friends of mine, their mom and dad too. I'd done consulting for them before they got started. And what happened was he told me, I want to do 500 home inspections in 1 year in the Seattle market. And I said, let's do it. We put a plan together. He went out there and did it. And he did over 500 inspections in the first year. First year, my friends. Okay. And home inspector, real estate agents tell them, oh, you're probably just going to be another home inspector out here that fills this candy box up once or twice and never comes back. And we'll throw that thing in the trash. And you know why? It's inconsistent marketing that they've seen from home inspectors that led them to that conclusion. So by sending notes and sending other handwritten pieces of communication, you have consistent follow-up. Consistency in every marketing activity you do.
Well, just to add on to
Go
that
ahead.
quick, Ken, is Mike and I have had many conversations over the last several months. Mike's on the call here. In fact, we were just on a call. I was driving up here to Park City and we chatted for a few minutes. And, that's that's one of the key things that we just constantly talk about is that consistency in anything you do. Whether it's marketing or your inspections, whatever process you have, is we got to build a process that we build out ahead of time, and then ultimately it comes down to being consistent with that, so that whatever you're doing, you're always doing that follow-up.
I think implementation is still the key to success, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm old, man, and I knew that years ago, so it's probably still working, but you're exactly right. But building a system to allow you to implement is a smart thing. I mean, it's the only way to do it. But here's what we're missing in America today, isn't it? Hard work and determination. Not with you guys. You guys are older. You got the same work ethic I got. The fact of the matter is, these young people, it's like, whoa, mama just give it to me if I wait a minute. 6, innovative sales techniques. And I'm going to show you when we talk about it, but let me just mention it to you here. Look what he did. Remember how many times I've recommended you guys that book called Irresistible Offer? Okay, look what happens. He often created a sense of urgency. That's Dr. Cialdini, one of the 7 principles of sales. Created a sense of urgency with limited time deals and promotions, and encouraged customers to take the advantage of those quickly. We're going to use that strategy too. We're going to use, again, how many times I said to you put an expiration date on that piece of work? Because with no expiration date, you create no sense of urgency. Okay, so keep recorded details. Now, Brandon, and I know that with a CRM, that's really very easy today. Okay, you are going to need to get a CRM, and we use one that's really super simple. It has no marketing automation, and that's why we have it. But it does keep what we need. And you're going to need to know who purchased, who called you, when the last time you talked to them. You're going to need everything to manage your sphere of influence. You're going to need every data point. I want to know, Keith, when was the last time they came to your crawfish bowl? I want to know what your kid's name was. I want to know where they're going to school. I want to know who had a baby. Guess what? That ain't going to be on Ken's memory at my age. It's going to be in my CRM. And the CRM we use is called Less Annoying CRM. So if you want to make a note of it, Less Annoying CRM, we have no deal with them, but we use it, and it's fantastic. It's super easy to use, does everything you want and nothing you don't. Okay, it's just most CRMs that we've used in the past took a PhD to figure out how to use it. Okay, that's over. I can't stand that. So Less Annoying CRM is the one we use. You'll love it. And it's a few bucks a month. It Brandon. I mean, Beth and our team pays the bills. I don't see what it is.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. We use HubSpot, and it's got all, HubSpot's huge. It's got all the bells and whistles, but it's got different tiers and whatnot. And we actually just use the free version, and it does perfectly fine for what we need. It has some of the automation built in that we could use, templates for emails and things like that. But we just use the free version of it, and it's great.
Ken, tell us that book, the name of the book again.
Irresistible Offer.
Irresistible Offer.
Yeah, it's about making an effective offer, because Dan Kennedy always said to us, ever, never, never direct mail, no offer, no sale.
I bet these guys have heard me say that before. No offer, no sale.
I mean,
Yep.
No offer, no sale. I mean, that's the way it works.
Here's an idea. I mean, Ken, this is a little bit off topic, but maybe we can circle back. But, if you go to websites like Vistaprint, for example, they've always got some offer on their website. You go in there, especially even if after you make a purchase, they'll say, "Hey, but wait," right? The whole and then they'll take it down and say, "Hey, here's some other things we could also throw in your order," and it's got a little countdown going, saying, "Here, you have 10 minutes to add these to your cart right now," right? Just thinking through some of that, there's more ideas on how you could, create more of that urgency going into a sale on home inspection.
Look at GoDaddy too. If you buy a domain, they always have upsells.
Yeah, exactly.
So I will tell you about upsells. There's a difference between upsells and offers, although people would say that an upsell is an offer, and it is an offer, but it's an annoying offer. I would rather you just let me buy the package instead of, thanks for buying that. But to make that damn thing work, you've got to add wheels to that vehicle. So people don't mind being downsold. That's why I always say to you guys, start with a 5-star package. If they can't afford it or don't want to spend that much money, you can always downsell. But when you start nickel and dime people up for this service, and this service, they get annoyed. They think you're, to use Keith's word, is hustling them. Okay, they think it's a hustle. okay, that's not a hustle. They need these things. You're not going to have to worry about that now because there's not going to be a damn real estate agent quoting your price. You know what? Your price is your price. And here's the services. We're going to differentiate ourselves by what we offer and by how we act. And you know how the customer's going to know that? They're going to look at your reviews on your website. We're not going to have to say anything. Your reviews are going to sell you. Okay. So we are going to offer more services. We're going to get more price. There's not going to be as much competition on price. It's less on price. And Keith, the more services you can offer, the more they view you as their consultant.
Correct. Correct.
Price is going away. Price is going away. Now, nobody's going to pay $20,000 for a home inspection. Get that. So there is some elasticity on price. But you know what happens is when somebody calls you after the 17th and they're going on and on and on and say, well, you know, somebody got it a little cheaper. And I say, well, you know what? People, you know less, charge less. Okay. So let me ask you this. Are they offering this? Well, no, they didn't mention that. Well, did they mention this? No, they're not offering that. They didn't say that. Well, you know why the price is less? Because the value that we provided for services that you actually need are included.
Quick,
We don't want to nickel and dime you.
here's a quick story for you, Ken. We actually, just a few weeks ago, we did, we call it mystery shopping, where we have one of our staff call up a handful of inspectors and get some price quotes. There was a handful of inspectors who were talking her out of getting like a radon test, for example. Like they talked straight up, said, oh, it's not a big deal here. It's more of a worry in like the South, Georgia and whatnot. And I'm like, it's the same gas for here, and we have just as much of it here as there. I would just blow my mind that he was talking her out of a service. Crazy.
You know why, Brandon? Because he doesn't do it enough. It's a nuisance to him. And so he doesn't want to be a part of it. But you know what? People coming from radon-laden zones, they want it. I mean, we had it done here in Florida. And they said, oh, in Naples, you don't have any. Guess what? It was 2.6. You know, don't tell me there's no radon gas.
And also it was in our contract, about radon, when they said, oh, there's no radon here, but it was in the contract.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. So
is this the book, Ken? Would you look at that link and see if that's the book you're talking about?
where would I, I'm ignorant on this whole thing. Where would I find the link? Okay. So I'd have to know where chat. Okay. I see chat. You guys all run this thing for me. I never know.
Yes,
it's the link. If you just click on the link.
That's the one. Yeah.
That'd be it.
Okay. There you go, Mike.
That's it. Mike, that's a great book. And I'll tell you, if you will take that information and you'll take it to heart, man, you will be a machine. Okay, because no offer, no sale. Okay, so let me go back here to Joe Girard for just a minute. Let me just finish up on him, and then we're going to get how does this affect you. So let me just click on that button. I do know how to do that. Okay, keeping detailed records. We talked about the CRM. Okay, word of mouth referrals. You guys know that I know that these are the best. If somebody refers you, then that's it. And when I talk to you about prior client marketing, and we're going to be getting into that in a bit, not tonight, but one of the things I talk to you about is building brand fans, BRAND, brand fans. Your business is a brand. Okay, and so what happens is when somebody comes into the lunchroom and you're sitting there, and let's just say Ricky's in the lunchroom having lunch in a business, and somebody comes in and says, wow, Ricky, here's what happens. We bought or put a contract on this fabulous house, and we're so excited, and we've been knocked out on a couple of offers, and this was one my wife really loves. I love it. It's in a great area. And you know what their buddy says? Wow, I got the perfect home inspector for you. When their buddy says, I got the perfect home inspector, and he says, you know what, it's Ricky, or it's Gazelle, or it's Mike, or it's Brandon, whatever the name comes out of his mouth, that is a brand fan. So you know what happens is his buddy calls you up on the phone. He doesn't start off with how much does it cost, does it? Hey, we bought a new home. When can you get out here? How quickly can you get it done? The price discussion is a secondary consideration when it comes from a word of mouth referral. And we've tried to emulate that with reviews online, and we've been very successful with it. But there's not as much online search today as there's been. We cannot let that happen. We have to say online is one technique of many that we'll engage in to get leads. Okay, because we're talking about leads, man, going in that funnel. Okay, Joe Girard was passionate for sales. Ken Compton is passionate about sales. I love to teach it. I love to do it. And you know what else? I like to damn win. I like to win.
Who's he remind you of?
That's about business, right?
It's all about business.
One thing I know that we're probably gonna come back to it a little bit. I did, Ken, I reviewed this outline here before the call here. That's the one, the word of mouth, that's the one that I circled because it is still the most obvious lost opportunity for us as home inspectors in general as an industry, right? We don't do anything to stay in touch with our prior clients. And so I think that's just a huge opportunity for us to really build, like you're saying, that brand fan, so that anytime someone's on Facebook and they're asking for an inspector referral, or they're asking their friends, hey, we're buying a house, who would you recommend? It's got to be us every time, because nobody else is going to do that.
Right.
No one else does that marketing.
So Keith, when I got in this business, I had a full head of hair and it was black. All right. That'd been over 20 years ago. I've been coaching and teaching home inspectors. All right. For 20 plus years, I have said, are you marketing your prior clients? You know why? Because at Southern Home Inspection Services, 1/3 of our business came from there every year. That was no accident. That was no freaking accident. And we published a newsletter manually. We did all of those things manually. There was no cool programs. When I started, you hand wrote the inspection reports. Okay, so there was none of that. And 1/3 of our business came from our brand fan. Where home inspectors are actually going to really have to work to fill that funnel if they're thinking about it. So thank God, whatever it takes.
The majority of them won't do it.
Good.
Because I talk to them. I talk to my competition, and they just, they're doing one a day, maybe 3 a week, and they're happy. And it's like, we got one pie to eat out of, and I want the majority of that pie. And I tell them that. I said, I'm going to market, and I'm going to take most of that pie away from you. And he laughed. Oh, you can't do it. Well, I'll do it, because I've done it before.
When I spoke at the international convention for one of the national franchises, one of the guys, it was Amerispec, I'll say that on the call, I didn't want to say it, but one of the guys came up to me and said, he was in Atlanta, and he said, I objected to you coming and speaking here. I just want you to be straight. I'm gonna be straight up about it. And I said, well, that's interesting, and I'm fine with that. Would you just mind sharing with me how come? He said, because when you owned Southern Home Inspection Services, you kicked my ass in the market every day. And when you sold that business, I started to get some market share. And I don't want you up here teaching all of my competitors what you know. And I'm like, well, that's totally fair. Thanks for saying that. But
Right.
you know what, Keith, it is possible. We started off, I'm not a home inspector when I started. First 5 years, I wasn't. In the 3rd year, we were over $1 million in annual sales, and we were the 3rd largest. When we finished, we were the 1st largest because we market. I'm a marketer, not anything else. I'm a marketer. Sure.
Right.
Did I do some home inspections? Yeah, but that's not what I do.
But that basic marketing strategy, what I've done probably 4 years ago is now shifting, where we used to be in the real estate offices all the time. And since COVID, we have not been there because nobody is there.
Right. No, you're exactly right.
These offices are vacant.
Mm-hmm.
You might have the gatekeeper and maybe a couple of agents in there, but the high producers are out there hustling. And what we've kind of done now is we started marketing into it's called Real Producer. And we're the only home inspector advertising in that publication. And that is starting to get a lot of little traction. I know I talked to you about that. And it's like we're getting a little bit more traction out of it because it's marketing to the high producers out there, and they see us and we go to their events, cross marketing.
Mm-hmm.
When they have like socials and that, we'll go out and, hang out with them and introduce ourselves to the other top producers instead of shotgunning it and just rifling down to the top producers.
Yeah. And you're consistent in your efforts. You've been doing it a long time.
You have to be out there and, and just be out there and just promote yourself to anybody that'll listen to you and what you do and what you can provide for them. That's the key.
That is it. What can you do for me, baby? So the strategies that you
I
just
can do
said,
any.
the ones that we did in the past in office marketing and all those are off the website. What we've done, we're retooling everything for today's market. And we're going to train you exactly how to do it. We're going to give you the content to do it. We're going to give you the letter, the email, the whole thing, whatever you need to make that happen. We're going to give it to you. I just produced a whole course. Think about this. Have you ever thought of building relationships with personal financial advisors? I just put together a huge course on that. I finished it today, turned it over to the team. But personal financial advisors, those people are talking to them. And I mean, our people talk to us when we get ready to buy a house. They produce all the financial documents. We talk about it. But what about if finally, I say this all the time, is the cost of the home the sales price? Of course it's not. How about all of those repairs that are not done by the seller or they're done incorrectly? That's the cost of the house. So your personal financial advisor is talking to you about it. And how about, hey, Ken is my personal financial advisor, and I want to remodel my kitchen. Is now a smart time? And what kind of return on investment can I get from that? Oh, I'm wanting to sell this property in 3 years. They know all these things about you. They help you make financial decisions in every other area. Real estate is one of them as well. We can't ignore it. I just put a killer course together for it. So we'll be rolling it out to you guys in the new Home Inspector Help. Okay. So today we're going to focus on this. So record-breaking achievements, 1,425 cars sold in 1 year. Okay, that's pretty powerful. All right, with that said, let's talk about this. Okay, so Brandon and I want to talk about just a few little things here today, standing out from your competition. So Brandon, if you send emails and texts, that's all great, right? But when you start sending out birthday cards, handwritten for not only for them, for their kids, anniversaries. How about the anniversary of when you did their home inspection? That's an anniversary, right? I mean, we'll generate you a whole list of things that you need to send and when. This course is under development as we speak. I have the outlines already done and most of the text already written, but it takes a minute to do all this. So what happens is you stand out from the competition. Does anybody know of a home inspector in their market that's actually handwriting stuff and sending it out to the customer now? Anybody you know?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah. So you're definitely going to stand up from a crowd because when a card comes, you're going to see it. Now, do you think that it's better to have a card in an envelope or a card not in an envelope? So maybe like when you went to, okay, you're not this old. When we grew up, and Keith's my age, so when we grew up, we would go to a hotel. We go to some fancy swank hotel. Man, it was a Holiday Inn when we first started. And when they went from the walk-up hallways to all the rooms were inside, we were in high cotton. And they would have these postcards that you could get and you could write a message to your friends back home. Well, the reason they provided you those postcards because it was on their postcard, their picture, their hotel, their letterhead, their information was right there. But how many times did I do that? A lot. I sent my friends, hey, we're at dinner at the beach. I'm glad you're not here. You're a butthead or whatever, and send it to them. My parents would send nice notes. I always did a prank, to my friends. But what happens is, would it be better to use no envelope or an envelope? And I'm being serious. Okay.
Yeah, envelope. Yeah, envelope.
And Keith, why is it you think that now? Because there's no right or wrong answer.
No, I think it's just more professional in a way, and it's more formal, and they're excited to open it. And that's the
Okay.
key, is to open it.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
The one thing that maybe comes to my mind, because I don't know the answer to this, just the little bit more time that they invest in opening up what is inside and some of that curiosity too.
Right. In direct mail, we have two issues. One of them is getting it open, and the second is have a compelling message. Okay, so the message on the inside is completely fine. So getting it opened is still one of the things that we face with direct mail as an issue. And I think if you go to your own mailbox and you'll see A pile and B pile, A pile is your bills if you still pay them yourself, which we don't, but that and things from people you might know or things you might be interested in, put in your A pile. You'll open that, but the rest of it goes in the junk mail, okay, in B pile. So the question is, if you didn't have to open it and you saw it was a postcard from somebody that you did business with and it was clearly handwritten, then that's good. Now, are there issues with that? Could the ink get smeared and all that in transit? Yeah, the postal service probably abuse you or whatever, but so that's it. So one of the ways I think that's probably best to have an envelope today, and here's how I think we can get more opens. How about we put a return address with our name?
Oh, definitely.
I
Yeah.
mean, how many things do you get have no return address?
Yeah.
Or it's down at the bottom on the back of the envelope. You know, they don't want you to tell it because they're trying to sneak up on you. So a breath of fresh air, Keith, is a handwritten note from you to your customer or your friend with a return address. I think that's the way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't care about professional because what I want to turn you from is a professional relationship to a personal relationship. I
Right.
want you to know me, like me, and trust me. I don't want to be your vendor. I want to be a part of your team. Okay. And that's how we feel about you guys. We don't want to be your vendors. Matter of fact, we're not going to be your vendor. But if we can be your partner, that's perfect. Okay. But we're not interested in a vendor relationship. So the more personal that you can build that relationship, the stronger it is, the bigger brand fans you build. You know, I don't know the answer to this, but call Keith. He'll know it. About somebody sees something in their house. I don't know what it is, but he'll know it. Call him. Or,
Yeah.
you know, I got a leak in my back porch and I'm not sure where the damn thing's coming from. And I got a ladder, I got up on the roof and couldn't tell it where it was. And your brand fan says, well, you know what? Hell, I just call Keith. He know what to do. That's the kind of relationship we're trying to build. That makes sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Now, Keith, don't get on the roof, Keith.
As long as we get money out of it, right, Ken?
Right. Oh, listen,
It's
no,
like-
but
it's
there ain't
all
no
about the
charity
money.
events, are there?
It's all about the money, baby.
Ain't no charity events. Keith comes out there might be we might do a consulting job for free, but guess what happens is, could we be the GC on that repair? The answer is we can.
That's right. That's
I
right.
got a whole host of things for you that we're going to do. Okay, but that's another conversation.
Yeah,
So
one thing, just to add
Go
really
ahead.
quick to that is, and I don't know if we'll get to it or not on the end of the call, but later on, you know, in this file you got here, talks about being genuine. Like, yes, it is a professional relationship that we want to have where they trust us with their inspections and whatnot, but still, you know, we want to be genuine in the way that we provide our service.
Well, I think we started off the conversation that says when you do business with people you know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And to be genuine is part of that. I mean, if you're Mr. Haney from Green Acres that every minute he wanted to sell you something else, a real estate piece or a repair or one of the other things, you know, you don't feel good about that. As Keith, I like that word. I'm going to use it, Keith. If you feel like you're being hustled, you know, then you
All
don't,
about the
you ain't
hustle.
you ain't feeling good about that. But Brandon comes out and he's like, you know what, Ken, here's a story. I'm uncertain about this, but let's run a garden hose in there and see if we can replicate the leak. And okay, so you did it for free. Okay, now your friend looks like a hero. You've gotten a client. Okay, so guess what happens is we can't really tell where it's coming from. I think that we should get a roofer out here. And oh, by the way, one of my preferred vendors would be glad to send somebody out here and take a look and see if he can't help us. Okay, so now you built a relationship with you solidified your relationship with your brand fan. You've built a new relationship with a person, and you've given your new preferred vendor work. I mean, where's the downside of this, guys?
Well,
Oh, no, that's the best. That's the best as far as, you know, being the consultant or being the person they go to be able to fix their issue. That is the way to do it. I mean, you want to be that point of contact.
I do. You know what I said? Every time we did an inspection, I said to the real estate agent, you know what happens? A lot of home inspectors out there are a little wonky. And when they write that inspection report, you may have no idea what they've said. I don't care if we did the inspection or not. Please let me be your resource. You call
Right.
me and talk to me about it. And guess what happens? I'll help you through it. And I can't tell you, Keith, how many people did it and
Agreed.
how strong that relationship became. So the first thing I would do is after Mary told her friend that, you know, that call Keith, then what I would do is I'd write Mary a handwritten note and I'd say, Mary, thank you for the confidence that you have in me and allowing me to serve your friend. That meant a lot to me, and be genuine about it. And, you know, anything else we can do to help, here's what we've done. We went over there and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just a quick note, you know, look, put a garden hose on, couldn't quite figure it out, referred her to one of our partner vendors, and I'll stay in contact with the process to make sure it happens right for them. Nobody does that. And you know what happens is, boom, you're a winner. Ricky, I see
Well,
you got his hand raised.
I'll
Question.
just tell you. I'll just tell you my incident today. I did an inspection for a guy, and he called me today. He says, "Hey, I smell gas in my house." I said, "Well, I didn't smell that, nor did the realtor smell that when we did, but I turned him on to my vendor of a plumber, and he went out there like within an hour and went and investigated it and repaired the issue, and that dude is happy."
Mm-hmm.
That is the key of the network with preferred vendors, when you can get, you know, somebody to go out there on an instant and remedy the problem. You're the hero.
I'll
Because
tell
he
you,
called
Keith,
me back. He says, "Hey, you know, the guy took care of it. I'm glad you did it. You know, and you know, it was all good for the consumer."
handwritten note right there. So here's one that happened. A lady called up on Christmas Eve. Okay, she's a single mom, lives in a house. We did the inspection. I don't know if the furnace was on or on, and I can't remember all the details. She calls us up in tears. It's Christmas Eve. Her furnace won't come on. It's a cold Christmas Eve in Atlanta, and nobody is there to help her. She calls us on the phone. Well, we were just, I don't know if we were getting ready to leave or whatever. She told the story. We said, we will have somebody out there in an hour. And we did. And you know what? We're the hero. How many people do you think she referred
Right.
to us for that?
That's right.
So that's it.
Yeah,
Now, Ricky, I can see Ricky's technical. First thing he'll say is there's a contract or there's a something that we can't do this.
No, I'm not
Oh, good.
technical.
Oh, good.
I'm not technical. I'm a simple man.
All right. I like it.
So how do we get these addresses to mail these handwritten notes to?
Okay.
Besides
So
asking.
the first way I would get them is if you don't if you're not running a CRM now, do you run the ISN or one of those types of programs?
No, but when I first started in 2018, I was writing handwritten notes, and I would ask agents, "Hey, can I get your home address?" But it kind of felt a little weird to ask that, to be honest with you. And well, why are you laughing, Beth?
Because of what Ken said. Ricky.
I said creepy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and anyway, so I asked an agent who I'd, you know, come out of the gate working with a few times, started to develop a friendship, and she said, "Well, you can't be afraid to ask. You just got to say, look, you know, if I could get your she referred to as like best mailing address where you receive your mails instead of just home address."
Sure.
And so I started kind of working with that language. And anyway, I was with an agent one time. She sells nothing but $1 million homes in Dallas. And she's mostly on the listing side now. I do an inspection for her every now and then. But she was the one where, when I first got started with her, I said, "Hey, would it be okay if I got your best mailing address? I'd like to send you something." And she was like, "Oh, you don't have to send me anything." She said, I don't need nothing. I don't want, you know." I said, "Well, I just do a lot of handwritten notes. You know, every time I work with you, I just want to be able to jot down my thoughts and my appreciation for what you know, for supporting me. And, you know, the only place I know to send those is to where you get your mail at." And that was kind of it. But I kind of put the brakes on it after that, because I was like, man, how many agents feel that way?
So
You know,
I will
so
tell
I
you,
just kind of
yeah.
eliminated it, and I stopped doing it.
So Becky Babcock, she's a multi-million-dollar producer in Atlanta, and Gazelle, you may have worked with her in her team, but
Yep.
she just said, "Ken, we love you, but you know, you don't need to send me any more thank you notes. I know you love me. The minute you stop loving me, I'll tell you." Okay, so that was it. However, Ricky, you know, here's the story. We're not going to be mailing agents after the 17th. We're going to be working all these notes with your clients, your spheres of influence, and other people. Agents are going to become a very small section of your referral business. Okay, so do you have a list of your prior clients?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the address right there. So I would just get it into whatever you want to get into. If you want to leave it there, or you want to move it over to transfer the data, leave it there, but you can send it also to a CRM if you want to manage that. Because
Oh, so we're sending
the,
handwritten notes to prior clients.
Well, yes, number
Not
one,
just, so we're sending handwritten notes to everybody.
we're sending handwritten
It-
notes to
it-
everybody. We
okay, that's
are.
where we're at. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I think if we don't, we're no different than everyone else. So somebody does you a good turn, send them a handwritten thank you note. You'll be way different. People will notice you immediately.
And
So prior clients will do it, but let's say you met somebody, let's say you met a mortgage lender, and you guys just had a casual conversation. Maybe you saw them at the shooting range,
Take
and you
them to
met him, and he
lunch.
said, "Hey, I'm a mortgage broker."
Lunch.
There it is. Note. Great to meet you. You know, listen, if you need help on your shooting, I noticed you kind of missed a target a few times, and then ha ha, just go that direction. I'd send him something like that and say, "Hey, if we can help you in business, let us know. No, by the way, I might give you a shout."
But I still am going to need referring agents' addresses to send a handwritten note to. I mean, that doesn't change the fact that there still will be some of them.
So let me say this to you. I think it'll be easier to get it. Here's what we always said. What we'd like to do is get your best mailing address. And the reason why is we have a birthday club. And, every time one of our great agents has a birthday, we want to acknowledge that. So what would that address be? Okay. And generally they'll give it to you. But please know that everybody isn't going to do it. And some are going to push back on you, but that should just be an invitation, to keep going, because they obviously don't want it. And if they don't want it and you send it to them, what does it become? Junk mail to them, right? Okay, so we don't want to be bugging that person. So if they don't want it, perfect. God bless you, and you're on to the next thing. But I think you're going to see that it won't be today, it won't be on August 17th, but I think you'll see over the next 12 months a complete and total disruption of the real estate business. So the market will
It's already
flip.
happening.
It is, bro. It's flipping. People just don't realize it right now how far it's gone.
But
So
the best thing to do, we've done in the last probably couple of weeks is just taken our top agents that has used us and just brought them out to dinner, have lunch. Hey, what you doing? Because I've got most of them on my cell phone, and I just call them up, say, hey, you available for lunch? And that's probably the best relationship building, and where you can sit one on one and say, hey, how can I help you with your business? And that's the best, Ken. I mean, the one-on-one relationship, you can't beat that.
I agree with you, Keith. Here's one of
But
the
you
other
gotta
things.
hustle. You gotta hustle.
You got to hustle, man. So think about this, and this was always been a thing where we worked. We would have the buyer's information and all that. I mean, the buyer's agent's information, all that. But not always did we get the selling agents. We had it we had to have a code to get in or whatever the situation had to be. But we marketed them slightly, but we didn't really market them now. So those selling agents, those listing agents that are going to remain in the market, those that Keith are talking about, maybe you don't know them and you can't call them up on the phone and say, let's have lunch, because there's no relationship there. But I think you should say to them, I know there's turbulence in the market, things are uncertain. However, I am here for you when you need me. Okay. And I'm going to email you or send you in the mail how we help transactions move forward. Okay. And go try to market them, because big listers are going to be the last to leave the market. Okay.
Right.
Buyer's agents, c'est la vie. Okay. But big listing agents, they're going to figure it out. There never will be zero real estate agents. There'll never be zero real estate agents. This thing's going to have to work its way out, but they're going to be under tremendous pressure, because when everybody sees that they might be able to drive a Mercedes Benz like your stupid real estate agent, because they're charging too much, they're going to jump in the market. It's already happening. I mean, it's already happening. So services will be offered a la carte by others. New businesses will come up. New business opportunities will come up. If I owned a home service business in the state of Florida where we live, I would be offering these services tomorrow. You need an appointment to look at that home? I'm your guy. Okay.
Right.
You need to
Right.
know, you need to have a contract filled out. I got that guy on my staff.
For how much?
Okay.
1,500, 2,000?
I
You're done.
Yeah, I don't even think I'd charge
That's
that
right.
much. You know, I would
Well,
get some testimonials. I kind of do it on the cheap first and get some reviews and then raise my price up, Keith. But that's just me. You know, sometimes you got to win, you got to give to gain.
I
But
know you got to give a little bit to get a little bit, right?
you got to. So that'd be how it is. So it's already changing. So I think if you start going back to Ricky, I love that you did it. And if you just go back to it now and really perfect it, get a system for doing it. But yeah, any agent you deal with now, why don't you send them, whether it's a buyer's agent or a listing agent, why don't you start sending them the handwritten thing? Is your
Yeah,
penmanship good or
I
did you
like
sub it
doing it.
out? Yeah.
Yeah, I liked doing it, and it was. I think about how I feel when I get a handwritten thank you note, which I don't get much, but I do. You know, I have gotten a couple here and there, and you know, it makes you feel good. And I think it definitely is something nobody else is going to do. So it's obviously low hanging fruit. You know, incidentally, while we were talking, I just opened up an incognito window and I typed in Fort Worth Home Inspectors, see how Beth's doing. You know,
That's a
because
deal.
she's running point for me, and I I always see one or two, maybe three Google guaranteed firms. Man, there's like 8, 9, 10 now. I mean, people are trying paid ads to get their phone to ring, man. It's crazy. I have never seen that amount of inspection firms, at least in DFW, put money into that.
So
So
we have other clients in other industries with another company that we own. And one of the things they asked me about, you know, Google Guarantee. And I'll say, well, don't ask me about it. Have you ever tried it? And they said, yeah, we've tried it. And I'll say, well, what were your results? And they said they were the worst results of any other marketing strategy that we engage in. And I said, well, how come? And they said, because it's a cold lead. It's just like going to the phone book and knowing nothing about anybody and calling them on the phone, because the only thing you can do is call them on the phone and hope you get something good. So the returns on that are terrible. But you know what happens is desperate times call for people to unload their pocketbook on strategies that they have hope. They think this might work, but it doesn't. Google
yeah,
Guaranteed is cold leads. There is no better than a warm lead. Brandon said it earlier, a referral from somebody that knows you, like, and trusts you, whether it's a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, prior client, whatever it is. Those are real leads. Even on the internet, Ricky, when you think about this, they go. See, when the internet first came about, I said to my boys, I'm going to take this internet and I'm going to try to figure out how to sell on this damn thing. And they're like, well, Dad, you know, your experience is you can win someplace, make these presentations and win. And I said, well, I'm going to have to make that happen on the internet. So I got a coach. His name was Mark Hendricks. And I said, here's my goal. I need to sell like I sell in a room online. What am I going to do it? He started teaching me these strategies. So your website is a reflection of that, of you. That's your best sales tool. Okay, so when somebody gets your name, like Keith said, the real estate agent gave me your name, but you know what? That's no guarantee they're going to call Keith. What's the first thing they do? They look at your online sales tool. Okay. And they look at your reviews and they look at what Ricky says. And what happens is we're doing audits. You know, you guys know the word SEO, search engine optimization, but now we're doing SXO because we're still doing search. But you know what's the most important thing to consumers today? The user experience of your site. Did they get what they needed to make a decision quickly, professionally, and effectively? Okay, so we're auditing all of our sites now, not from just SEO, but from SXO, because Google is changing and putting tremendous pressure on user experience. And you know how Google measures it? Bounce rate. You came on Keith's website, you looked for 2 seconds, and you back browsered him. Okay, so Google says obviously what the searcher was looking for wasn't relevant. So Keith, boom, sinks like a lead brick. Okay, so your best salesperson is still going to be your online presence. Okay, but going to doing, you know, Google Guarantee and all that. I mean, we used to do pay-per-click and we really were able to actually get a positive ROI. Today, we get other things. Maybe we'll break even, but we get a lot of other things. Google moves us up in the search engine rankings. We get more exposure, more clicks, all those things, which are important. But today, with the big companies and the price per click, do you have any idea how much a click costs for Home Inspector Fort Worth?
too much.
$20.
20 bucks.
19 or 20 bucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a tool on the side of my sidebar that I pay for. It's called Keyword Anywhere, and I can go in there and type it in, and it'll tell me everything: search volume, how much the cost per click is, the return, the whole thing. And it's terrible. I mean, how do you make that kind of money? We could take that money and invest in other things, handwritten thank you notes and things that we're going to talk about. How about relationship building? How much does that cost? Minimal, not $20 an inspection.
Well,
So,
it depends if you take them out for lunch, you know.
but that's an investment. That's not an expense. And I know, Keith, you writing that off your taxes fast and furious.
Just as fast as I spend it.
Okay, and I know that you're independently wealthy, so that's all good. So that's that. So Brandon, with that said, we're back on top of mind. I mean, if I send you a handwritten thank you note, man, I'm on the top of your mind now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about staying front of mind, front of center, front of mind, so that when that time comes about and it's time for an inspection, whether it's them or somebody else, you're the one that was right in front of them last.
So if Ricky writes me a handwritten note or he sends me an email, which I'm trying to filter out, when the first thing came out, I said, "You've got mail." Damn, you were excited. You know it. Today, if that was saying you got mail, we would run as fast as we could from that computer. Okay, because your inbox is as full as mine. Now mine's not full because I got that thing wound down, baby. You're in there. You're somebody important to me. So Ricky sends me a handwritten thank you note, or he sends me an email. I'm unimpressed by his email. I'm totally impressed by his handwritten note. Okay. So he's on the top of my mind. But the other thing that Ricky's done, he showed me appreciation. He showed me true appreciation. You know why? Because he took his time and effort to do it. Okay. And that is a huge thing. No, people just don't do it today. You know what? Email is easy. Easy. Now, I'm not saying email marketing doesn't get a return, and I'm not saying we won't use it, but not in this. Okay. And then we've labeled out some easy steps for you to get started. We'll help you with all this. Now, if you have a staff, here's what happens. When Home Inspector Help, Home Inspector Huddle is different.
Are you gonna start the?
But if you've got a staff, my goal for you is this, that you send your staff in here and let them take the training. So here's a CEO. I have my CEO hat on. Here's what I say to him. I say to our team, I want to be able to do this. I don't know how to do it. I have no idea how to do it. But here's my outcome. I want you to go, and we have this term called FITFO. Okay, when it's not moving fast enough, I say FITFO, and it means figure to frick out. Okay, I don't know how to do it. Okay, but the fact of the matter is somebody needs to figure it out. Okay, but my outcome is this. So the team goes in and they figure it out. And then they bring it back and we say, wow, this is fantastic. And we implement it. While I'm spending my time on other things in the firm. Okay. Now, if you're a one-person operation, we're going to have to do my favorite thing, and that is blocking your time. Okay. So 1 hour every day I spend on handwritten notes, right? Okay. 1 hour every day I spend on phone calls. 1 hour a day I spend on this, whatever your time frame is. You have to time block it on my calendar. And I'm the only one in the firm that uses a paper calendar, but I'm still the owner. So that's why I get away with it. But it's called a planner pad, and everything is in blocks. And I physically mark out a block. If I'm at home working in a home office and I'm working like I was today, I have a block down there. And what do I have to accomplish in that time block? Okay. I work it. Okay. And I got a little timer here. And you know what happens is I work it. And that's how you're going to have to do it. But I don't want you, the owner, if you have a staff, going in here and taking these silly training courses. That's for staff. Okay. You just say, here's what I want. I want to implement prior client marketing into our firm. Go to Home Inspector Help and figure it out. Okay. So we have you as a client, but we also have your people as a client.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about having that mindset of a CEO is you tell your people what you want in your system. So, thinking cards or that personal touch that we're going to have, how are they going to develop that system, bring it to you? Your job as the CEO is to say, how does everything else fit around that? So for example, we have a team of inspectors. We want to provide a quality, high produced product that people appreciate and they feel that personal connection with them. And then we followed up with a personal phone call after the inspection to say, in fact, I even do that. it's again, that personal touch, and I'll get reviews. I had nothing to do with the inspection at all, not the scheduling, not the inspection. All I did in that whole transaction is I spent 5 minutes on a phone call with them after the fact to see how it went. And then we send up a text message, and I'll even get I'll get named in reviews saying Brandon, the owner of the company, even called to follow up, you know? And that's as the CEO, you build those systems, and then you bring them all together so that they provide that outstanding experience that's really gonna drive this whole process.
So true, so true. You have to be wearing a CEO hat. I'm telling you, so many people wear their home inspector hat, and that's great. But I've said forever and ever, you know, when you understand you're not a home inspector, you're a marketer of home inspection services, that's an epiphany for you. But now I want to change it. You're not a home inspector, now you're a property consultant. Okay, but you're too knowledgeable just to provide home inspections. You have too much knowledge in the industry just to provide home inspections. And I want to just be honest, I am not anti-realtor. Okay, but I'm anti the practices that have imposed on home inspectors. Now, and you know what? There's a lot of home inspectors out there in the industry that do goofy stuff that make realtors insane. I get this. It goes both directions. So believe me, I get it. But one of the things about it is the customers, the consumer has negative feelings about us getting referrals from them because of the conflict of interest. Okay, today we'll no longer have that. We'll generate the leads or we die. Okay, we're out of business. We don't generate the leads, we're out of business. Okay. And we're going to developing your sphere of influence. We're going to be all about that, talking to you about it. Okay. I mean, I just wanted to share that and get what you guys thought about it. I mean, we're here. The 17th is upon us.
I just want to say real quickly, everybody here on this call has been in the real estate or the home inspection business for a couple of years, whatever. Over that time, you have really developed people that you recommend and refer. And they are great referrals for you when you stay in touch with them. So one way or another, you know, even if you take your 1 hour and send them just a card, just saying hello, how's it going, whatever. But they're a good referral source for you, even though you're referring to them also. I like that idea.
A reciprocal arrangement for referrals. Today, when I finished up the course, it's taken several days to put it together, but for marketing your personal financial advisors, not just yours, but others as well. One of the things I gave you is how to start the relationship, how to start it. What do you say? Okay. What's in it for the personal financial advisor to do business with you? What type of relationship do you want from them? Once you get these spelled out and you have a good referral source and a good referral partner, this thing will go. And then I'm going to tell you that I tell you activities you can engage in. I tell you low price activities you can engage in right away to jumpstart your relationship with them. Everything will be spelled out for you. You won't need to think through this. Okay. Because you're going to be busy implementing this stuff. All right. And you know, your competitors will be going out of business. You're going to be gobbling up, writing a bunch of thank you notes. So that's how it's going to roll. So just hang with us and keep this thing going. But you know, sometimes if you're out there and I know that Mike, I think sometimes you talk to Brandon or whatever, but think about people that don't have anybody to talk to. Somebody that is in here sitting at that desk alone. They don't talk to their competitors because they don't trust them. They don't go to the association events. You can imagine what they're thinking. You know, maybe they're thinking this ain't really right for me anymore. A lot of older men are thinking that. You're going to see part-timers get out. You're going to see older people because you know what? I probably shouldn't say this.
Easy there.
Yeah, really.
Easy.
This industry is comprised of older Caucasian males. Okay. So you know, I've tried to call it right here in a gentle manner.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of them have no desire to jump in and do work like this. Okay. And those that get 80% of their business from referrals from their prior clients will make it. Those that don't won't. Okay. But they're getting some. Okay. I mean, even a blind squirrel will occasionally find an acorn. All right. So these home inspectors are getting 1 a month or 2 or 3 a month. They're gone. Okay. But those people are still buying homes. Okay. You have to get that business. All right. So have you ever been in a position where you have a tremendous leg up on your competitor because of what you know is coming and what you're going to need to be doing about it? I mean, the rest of the market doesn't believe it because the real estate agents saying, "I ain't gonna be no big deal." Nah,
All
this
about the
our
hustle.
broker done told us this.
Hustle. I'm
So
telling you, it's all about the hustle.
it's a hustle. Not many
It's a
people gonna
hustle. You
hustle.
gotta get out there.
The new breed of young people coming into the business are Brandon Goff's age. They're young people. They get technology. They're going to leverage it. They're going to do what it needs to take because they still have the fire. They still have to make those school payments, braces, all of the things. Brandon has two lovely kids. You know what? Their expenses don't go away because the market's settled down. Okay, they don't. Okay, so it's people his age, both men and women, that are coming into the business that are going to take our places. Okay, those are the ones that we'll have to compete with, not the old people. Okay, forget them. So the fact of the matter is, right now, there's not that much competition, and they sure don't know what to do. They're scratching their head if they're thinking about when you see 8 or 9 people paying for a Google guarantee. Not only are the leads crappy, but now there's 9 of them up there. Like, oh, which one am I going to pick? So what they've done is reduce themselves to a commodity because Ricky, who's going to get the business? The one with the lowest price. Oh, you're going to get it? Yeah.
I'm going to get it because they're going to keep scrolling. They're going to see my name.
Yeah. I hope they don't see you on Google Guarantee, but
No. Never
because
do
the
it.
fact of the matter is, now you've been turned into a commodity. They're going to take the lowest price. They're going to call 3 people on that list. They're going to try to leverage the lowest price. They're going to get that, which that makes no sense. But you don't want that kind of buyer anyway.
You know what else is bad about Google Guarantee? A lot of times, just like Ken said, they're trying to get, inspections fast. But if you do Google Guarantee and you don't have a good star rating, a lot of reviews, if you put your Google Guarantee up there against somebody that's got 2 or 300 or 2 or 3,000, they're not even going to look at you anyway. And you
That's
wasted
why I'll look at you anyway, because from Google
Okay.
Guarantee, they're just going to call you. That's all they can do. So the fact of the matter is, they're not going to see your website in advance. So they're going to just drive on price. See, home inspections, we've hurt ourselves. People in this business, and it's not just this business, but business owners with no marketing skills lower price to gain market share. And in this business, how many companies have you seen in the past? 197, any inspection plus a revisit, a reinspection. I've seen it here in Atlanta. I mean, we don't live in Atlanta. I saw in Atlanta forever. People were doing it. But you know what? If you're interested in that kind of home inspection, you're not our client. We marketed to the affluent. Okay. So the fact of the matter is that's who they're getting on Google Guarantee, those that want the lowest price. And, home inspectors keep bidding the price down to where, I don't know about you guys, but fuel is more than $1.87 a gallon where we live here in Florida. Everything has gone straight up.
How much?
So it used to be $1.87.
He says it's more than $1.87.
Yeah, it's more
Double
than
that now.
$1.87. Yeah, easy here. So your costs have gone through the roof. How are they affording to do it? They have no idea what their costs are. That's how they do it. They just look, I got $78 in my pocket. It's like the people that think, oh, I got money in my checking account, I'm not broke. Not to mention the bills that
Ken,
you
I gotta
owe.
I still
honestly
have
say,
checks, I'm not broke.
The people looking online are looking at reviews, and when you're higher price, they thinking that we're getting a better inspection, more experience from that versus somebody with no Google reviews. So the power of the Google review, I've noticed in the last 5 years, has promoted our business quite a bit, and we can get premium dollar for all of our inspections. And that's basically from the reviews where they see you're the prominent inspector in the area. Right, Beth? Right, Beth?
Yes. And I'll tell you something else. What's really something is somebody will talk to me, and now I've been in the business 20 years, and they've got 57 Google reviews. I'm like, you got to get more reviews. Because people look at your number of years in the business, but then they look at your number of reviews and it doesn't kind of work together. If you've been in the business 20 years, you should have a lot more than 57 reviews.
You know what other people look at too, is they look at when was your last review.
Right.
That's what I said to Beth. We'll be going down the road. She'll say, I need a plumber or whatever. And I'll say, I need a plumber. And she'll say, oh, start reading them off. And she'll say, we have 57 reviews. I said, what's their last 5? Give me the reviews from their last 5 customers. And then she does. And I'm saying, I'm not using them. Or, wow, look at that. That sucked. You know, that seems to be a trend. But Google reviews today are gold. They're currency for home inspections.
Mhm.
Agreed.
You gotta
So,
ask for them.
We
you
just
have to
hit
have a
our,
system.
You gotta beg for them.
Well, you hate to beg, but you
Well,
definitely
I'll
have to
tell
ask.
you, Keith, there's another
We're
thing
not proud,
too.
baby. We'll beg for them.
Yeah. Older Americans, the baby boomers, they're the hardest to get a review from. But when you take younger people and you do home inspections for them, which we do less and less because they're still living with mom in the basement at 30. But the ones that they do, they want, when you look at millennial behavior, and this is just a fact I didn't make up, they want to help you co-create your brand. So if you don't ask them for a review, they're offended by that. And when they give you a review, if you don't reply to it, they're offended by that. Okay, so, but baby boomers, and that's probably who you're serving as upscale clients, we're the hardest in the world to get a review from.
Yes.
We're busy. You know,
So,
we
you know,
love
let me
Keith,
ask
but
you a question when you're saying that. So, what's the value of a QR code bringing to the inspection? So say you have a QR code on the back of your iPad or whatever, and just ask the buyer to do a review right there on site. Have you any inclination on that or statistics on that as far as return on investment?
so two
Think about
things.
Joel,
Well, yeah, just
Ken.
2 things though. QR codes are one thing. And then, of course, having somebody complete a review there on site is a second. Okay, so some people will complete a review right on site for you. There's no question about it. A lot won't. They want to see how things go before they do it. The second thing is when they didn't have QR code readers built into phones, it was complicated. You had to download it. But most phones today have them. And so they can just read the code, complete the little survey thing. So I would say any way you can drive them to your review page to leave a review, you should do it. QR codes are free. You can generate a link for a QR code any time of the week. We can do it for you.
Beth, I'll call you
So that's
tomorrow.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, another thing, back in the day, remember, Ken, we had the postcard that the inspectors took to the inspection. And remember,
Absolutely.
we did a promotion within our office for our home inspectors to see who could get the most reviews, hand filled out reviews, because the client would fill out the card, and then we would get the card back. We would make a copy of the card. Then we would send the original card. We would mail it to the agent. So the agent saw what their client said about our inspection. So we were doing a contest, and this one his name was Joel. What was his last name?
Joel Jones.
Jones. And I mean, that guy got that card filled out at every inspection.
He just told me one day in a sales meeting, he said, Ken, just go ahead and give me the $100 because you know I'm gonna kick everybody else's ass.
And he did.
He did
So-
too, every
So
month.
clients will fill out something at the inspection. They will if you ask them. And,
They will.
and
Some
sometimes
will. Some will.
it might be easy to get them to do it right then.
I would
Because
do it. I
they're,
would try it.
yeah, they're happy with you at the end of the inspection. You've built that rapport, and they're happy to probably do it right then and there.
So at 7:30, the recording cuts off, and I'm fine with that because it just cuts off. But I wanted to just take any questions anybody might have. I don't care if the recording is on or not on. I mean, we got the majority of it. So anybody have comments, questions, concerns that you want to talk about? This is your time, open
Giselle had a
mic.
couple of questions she just wanted to ask that, Giselle, you still want to ask that?
You know,
Ask it.
so many things that I was gonna ask. It was about when hiring an inspector, those of you have several working with you, are they 1099 or you have them on W-2?
Okay. So first, let me say to you, because you're a member of Home Inspector Help, all of that information is right there on our site. So Gazelle, everything you want to know, how to recruit, hire, and train a home inspector, how you pay them, the whole thing. But let me give you the answer to it. A lot of home inspectors have used the 1099 approach because they didn't want to pay the FICA. But I will tell you that that's illegal for them to do that. And so what happens is with several home inspectors that we personally know, the IRS has come back and reclassified that payroll, that employees' wages as not 1099 as W-2, and one of them paid $60,000 in penalties, fines, and back payments for that. So you would be very wise if you just went ahead and bit the bullet and make them W-2 income. That's what we always did from the very beginning. We had 13 guys going full-time and a support staff. And the fact of the matter is that it's a little more painful to you up front, but it's no more painful than paying on the back end. And I will tell you that one thing the IRS takes as no joke is payroll tax. If you owe income tax, they'll forgive a portion of it. But if you owe payroll tax, they'll fight you to the death to get every nickel. So I would start off on best practices so you don't have to worry about the IRS reclassifying your payroll, and then you pay those big penalties. So W-2 would be the only way I would go. Now,
And then I have another question for those that have the 5-star package. Have you ever heard of Flex Fund? I think it's through ISN or Guardian.
I don't know it. Just tell me what it does. I mean, Brandon, you know it?
Yeah, we've done it a little bit. It's more or less a pay at close ability to do it. The one thing with Guardian, when Guardian's the payroll or the credit card processor through ISM, is they guarantee payment to us, so we don't have to wait till actually closing. We get payment within a couple days, and there's an extra fee. There's like a $50 fee to participate on that transaction. We've tested it out, Giselle, just to tell you, it's not we just don't. It's not been enough to really make a big difference in our business, honestly.
I know the program now that you said what it is. I didn't recognize it by the name. I would never, ever do that. There's no excuse for you to take money at closing. In God we trust, all else cash.
Plus, I don't have the time. Like I told, I think it was Trevor Shin that I spoke to. I don't have the time to call the agent to give me the closing date and the attorney, but they take care of it.
Well, why would you accept money at closing? Why don't you just get your money up front?
Well, that's the point is that.
Tell me that again, Brandon.
Guardian goes ahead and pays us up front, and then it's on Guardian to collect at closing. So if it doesn't
cost, but it costs $50.
Yeah.
Why?
That's the business model.
Yeah, that's a flawed business model, in my opinion. If you can, you know what happens is we take your credit card information up front, and what happens is we don't bill you until the inspection is over, and that's that. But I'm not going to pay somebody $50 to do my job, so I wouldn't do it ever. In some states, it's a common practice, and I would just say we'll do it fine for a $75 convenience fee. And I had our clients do it that way.
That you have to pay them.
That's what we do or have done.
So I wouldn't do it.
Giselle, you had one more question too. Today we talked about the admin fee.
Oh yeah, the admin
so actually
fee.
she was talking about and I told her, ask on the call, do inspectors pay a percentage to their inspector or do they pay a flat fee?
So Brandon, how do you pay your people?
And Brandon and Keith.
This is a compensation. How do we pay our inspectors?
Flat fee or percentage?
Yes.
We're flat fee. I'd like a hourly wage. Well, that's a different conversation, I think.
No, that's the conversation I'm going to. We're gonna pay by the hour from here forward.
Percentage.
Okay. So your worst producer, your worst team members get a raise when you increase your price.
And they
When you
do.
do percentage, yeah. There's pros and cons. We did in old days, but I'm going to tell you the way the mentality is of younger people today. They want to earn a fee. They want to earn an hourly wage, and the fact of the matter is that when you look at some questions, is when you make them W-2, do you really owe them a minimum wage? And the answer is there's a very good possibility in certain states they're enforcing that now on home inspectors. They're starting to think about enforcing it on real estate agents. So that's a whole reclassification issue that I'm not going to get into, but I will tell you that if you can get somebody for $20 an hour, $15 an hour, you're the winner, Keith. They're a good inspector. They do the things. It's $20 an hour. Guess what? It's just a job to them. And $20 an hour is still a good wage, and boom, they'll do it. I think we're moving to it.
I've done a couple of straight commission inspectors in the past, and it's much like, they're on their own business, and the one I have now, he doesn't really interact with me that much during the week.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much a self-employed person. He's making X amount of percentage per inspection. And, we like it like that. We know what we're giving up. And he knows the recourse if there's an issue with the inspection, it's on him. So that's what we've developed over the, multiple years is best to go with the percentage. And I understand what you're saying. You get more money on the other side. I understand that.
Right. I guess the thing is, it's ultimately, and it always has been, the business owner's decision. But I wrote an article a year or two ago, and we were talking about this issue. And in the article, I developed a list of all of the places where you could recruit home inspectors from. And there are recruiting job boards like Monster. It isn't Monster, but one like that are only for people who want hourly wages. Okay, so these people want to work for hourly wages, and they're in all kind of different categories. But you know what, Keith, what happens is people to own a business, and you and I's days was a big thing. But we saw that Beth and I were watching this program on changing behaviors or whatever it was. Anyway, there was a physician, two physicians, they were both emergency room doctors. And Brandon, you've already told me this too about how you feel. And what they did, we're doctors, that's true, but we work as doctors to support a lifestyle. That's the only reason we work as doctors. Okay, so when you have that kind of mentality, I mean, Brandon told me he owns the home inspection business, so it supports his lifestyle. And you know what? I think that's a great change. Because you have less heart attacks and you have less spouses and you have all of these less things because you view it in a completely different manner. So because mentalities have changed in younger generations, why not pay somebody $20 or $25 an hour? They do a great job. They're happy. And if they do a great job, you got a room to give them a bonus. So I'm just saying that your model, Keith, and you and I are easing out. You already said to me that. But we're not, but you're going to need to perpetuate that business on. Okay,
Right.
so how do we do it? So I think that just like the market for real estate agents has been disrupted, it's getting disrupted for home inspectors too.
So how do you know how much to pay, how many hours to pay them? They do one inspection and they drive there, they do the inspection, and they go home. How much time is that?
And
Well,
they drag their feet.
Well, here's what happens is, and this is how the Postal Service and others work. Ricky, let's say that you know that a home that's less than 5 years old, it's on a slab and it's about 1,800 square feet. Okay, so everything's fairly new, and you know from history of roughly how long it takes you to do it and write the report. Okay, so there's your base of time.
So what is that? What is that base?
I don't know. It depends on every home inspector is going to be different. I mean,
Are these guys like
but that's a
punching
problem.
Are they punching an app with
so
their time that they
so wait a
arrived,
minute
or
now,
what are they
you're
doing?
talking about details now, not strategy. Okay, details are just details. Okay, but what happens, Keith, is this: how long does it take you to do it?
An hour per thousand.
So you got the base. What are you even having this
I
conversation with me
know what it
about?
is. But
See,
I'm not going to pay him. I'm not going to
sandbag
pay
me
him
right
on
on that
that
question.
base.
I knew how much time it took for our inspectors. I don't care how much time it takes you individually. Here's what we're going to pay for. It takes the average inspector on this home, this size home, this. Now, if you call me up and say, Ken, there's this or this or this, it's going to take a little more time. And then I'll say, how much more time? And then you get paid for that. And then I'm going to go back and get it from the seller, or I've built it in. The buyer. But the fact of the matter is that you know how much time it takes. Hell, you're not new in the business. Now, if you were brand new in the business and you said, "Oh, I don't know how much time it takes," and that'd be a whole different story.
It still doesn't compute.
How's that?
Well, okay, so there's 5 year-old house that I've inspected many times where it was lived in very hard, and I couldn't walk 3 feet without having to stop and notate another deficiency.
Okay.
The guy
Each
sees
one's
that
gonna be unique.
he's getting he's getting paid for 2 hours worth of work, but there's 3 hours worth of work there.
Okay.
And so
Okay,
now
so
now he's rushing to get it done. He misses a bunch of crap. I get a phone call 3 weeks later after the client moves in, said your home inspector sucks.
but you've made it
Hourly is a slippery slope, man.
yeah, you've made a fallacious assumption there. One of them is that they're going to do a terrible job. But the answer is your procedures, they call you on the phone and talk to you and say, you know what, how much, you ask them, how much longer do you think it's going to take? And they'll say, it's going to take me another 2 hours. And if you trust the person, you'll say, fine, but do the math on it. So let's say that's $400. And I don't know, let's just say Keith pays 40%. So it's a $400 inspection times 0.4. Okay. So there's $160. So if you're paying $20 an hour or $25 an hour, that's $75 where you would have paid 160. So if they took 2 more hours, you still make more money. Okay. So what you
But it's
really told me is you
micromanaging.
can't trust
But
the
to
people
me,
that you've hired. That's pretty bad because
no,
nobody says rush and miss anything. If that's your corporate philosophy, that's the industrial
But
robber
if he
baron
does it
model.
every time, that's gonna be an issue. If he's,
Well, you don't hire
no.
people that you don't trust. You know what happens is we have ways for you to select the right people. We have profiling. We have all kinds of tools that you can use to
Yeah,
select.
I'm just thinking about the process. I'm just
Mhm.
thinking about getting them there, doing good work. Take the time you need based on the home because they're all different, and compensating them accurately for that work, for that commitment to do it right. And I'm not saying commission makes that any easier, but
Sure doesn't.
but
but
the percentage is an average. So you're going to get the bad ones, you're going to get the good ones, right? So it averages out versus an hourly pay. And if you think I'm going to call my client after the fact, say, hey, it's going to take a little bit longer, I need more money,
You won't
that's not
need
going to
to.
work.
You won't need to
That's not going to
because
work. That's not
you've
going to work.
already billed normally would have paid $160. But let me ask you this. Let's take our cue from the auto industry. So you pull up into the customer service bay and you have something wrong with your auto. And if they can even replicate the customer complaint, let's say they can actually replicate it, which my experience is they never can, but let's say they can. Okay, so they have an auto mechanic back there and they know on this repair, on average, it takes this amount of time. And that's what they pay the mechanic on. However, if the mechanic comes back to the supervisor and says, there's this in addition to what the service advisor said, guess what? They pay the mechanic more. But they understand that. They have quality people. I mean, Joe Schmaltz was in that business. Gary Monfelli was in that business. Clients that we've had in that industry. Okay, they know it. So they have this figured out. So these details can all be worked out. But I'm just saying that I am in it for you to make more money. I've not reduce your quality and not get less inspections, just make more money. That's a business owner. That's what we do. We make money, more money, more money.
Well, anyway, real quickly, Giselle and Glenn are thinking of hiring somebody, and they're just trying to, work through how to hire them, how to pay them,
Flat fee. All the training is on the internet, on the website, and flat
find
fee,
it.
W-2,
Okay.
and get a man.
my dog's freaking out. What I was going to say was that Chilton manual does a really good job of saying this is how much this job should pay. But those guys already came to work, they already clocked in, and they're going to go home, 8 hours later. So there's still drive time. There's still some other things to, take into consideration. If I hire somebody, I just want to make sure that I nail that piece of it. And that's why I kind of think about all these different things.
I've been thinking about it because you know what happens is Rick had 13 guys going full time. We had a new construction group, residential resale. I mean, the list went on and on. I mean, we do 1.75 million in sales a year. So I don't think I hadn't thought about it. Don't think there wasn't frustrations with every model. Every model has them. Somebody's late, it's hot, they're in that crawl space. Are they, no matter what you pay them, going to actually crawl all the way to the back and see all these things? Of course they are. You know why? Because they're a quality employee, not because they're getting paid. I mean, that's what part of the job, and this is what pisses me off about home inspectors. You'd ask them to leave the leave behinds so we could get business from the sellers. Well, when I go back and check up on them, they don't know I'm coming. I go back and check up on them 40% of the time. The leave behinds aren't there. Don't think that doesn't affect their performance evaluation. Some of my guys would put their business card at the far end of the crawl space because I'd suit up in that damn crawl space suit and I'd crawl back there to see if they've inspected it and there was their business card.
I got to start doing leave behinds.
Yeah, and a million other things we got to do.
You opening up Pandora's box here, man. I'm thinking about all these different things now.
Well, that's my job. Help you get going.
And we can help you with the actual campaign that you'll print for your leave behind.
Anything that you need. We've been in this business forever. So, all right.
I got to go light the grill.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. What are you grilling? Some portobello mushrooms?
We're going to do some hamburgers tonight. We're keeping it real simple.
You guys, I love it. I'd like to throw a big steak on the grill. That just ain't in it for me.
We did that last night.
Cooper.
Yeah. I'm a plant-based eater, Ricky, so that's over for me, man.
Talk to Cooper.
What's up, Cooper?
That's a director of security right there. The old one's
Cooper's
retired.
like, holy crap, get me out of here.
Yeah, really. No question about it.
I got to run, guys. We'll see y'all.
See you, Ricky.
Bye, Ricky. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Anybody got anything else before we call it quits? I mean, Brandon's at a hotel just ready to go party.
Here's Sadie.
Get ready for dinner too.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Okay. So
Hi,
next
Sadie.
week we'll pick up on a different topic and just start trying to brainstorm on a variety of different things and just make you nuttier next week than we made you this week. And knowing Brandon, that'll be possible. He can make you nutty, all the conversation he had. We'll check on Brandon's mustache when he gets next week. We'll see if we got new growth. All right, guys. Well, listen, Gazelle, just Beth will help you get where you need to be, and if she can't help you, I can help you get where you need to be. Okay.
All right,
We
thanks.
want you to make the right. We want you to make the right hire.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. I'm out here,
Bye.
folks. I have another meeting to go to, so lucky me.
I'm taking the dogs from here.
All right. See you later.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Keith. Bye, Brandon.
bye
Bill,
now.
thank you.
Bye now.
Jill, I'll see you on another call.
Bye, Keith.